Israel has murdered more than 16,000 Palestinian children as part of the genocide it has been carrying out in the Gaza Strip since 2023. In the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the Senate decided to lift the immunity of former President Joseph Kabila, accused of supporting the rebel group M23 in the framework of the conflict affecting the east of the country. And in Panama, workers and social organizations mobilize in defense of democracy and human rights. Hello, welcome from the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. The Palestinian Health Ministry reported that Israeli genocidal forces have killed over 16,500 minors since October 7, 2023 in the Gaza Strip. The entity indicated that among those annihilated were 916 babies younger than 1 year old and 4,000 children aging from 1 to 5 years old. The ministry further specified that the minors' death toll revealed the upsurge of the humanitarian catastrophe that the Palestinian people are living through. Israeli forces targeted children who must have been protected, cared for, and educated. In addition, the institution urged the international community and human rights organizations to hold their corresponding responsibilities for a ceasefire and to safeguard Palestinian children. In this context, the World Health Organization warned that at least 94% of the hospitals in the Gaza Strip were damaged or destroyed as a result of the aggressions of the Zionist regime of Israel. Only 19 of the 36 hospitals in the Gaza Strip are still functioning, of which 2 provide medical services while the rest only provides basic emergency care. Currently, only 2,000 hospital beds are available for a population of more than 2 million people, which the organization described as extremely insufficient. All major hospitals were forced to suspend operations last week due to their proximity to combat zones. The World Health Organization has documented at least 1,521 attacks on health facilities in the occupied Palestinian territories. In Palestine, more than 9,000 children have been treated for malnutrition this year, according to the United Nations Children's Agency, and food security experts say tens of thousands of cases are expected in the coming year.
She is 2 years old. She weighs 7 kilograms. She suffers from severe malnutrition. She has celiac disease and chronic diarrhea. She has been suffering for it for a year. She needs diapers, soy milk, and she needs special food. This is not available because of border closure. If it's available, it is expensive. I can't afford it. Most stock for nutrition and baby formula are almost running out. Many are already depleted. The situation is very catastrophic in terms of nutrition of pregnant women and children. We are now facing a disaster. This disaster will be dire if there is a continuation in the blocking of food supplies. I predict there will be many victims because of food insecurity. Most people now live off food scraps and what they had in stock.
And the Palestinian authorities condemned the recent attacks by Israeli settlers in the occupied West Bank city of Brooklyn. The Palestinian Foreign Ministry stressed that the settlers' crimes are organized and planned in an attempt to displace Palestinians, adding that the attacks are supported by the occupation army. Extremist Israeli settler militias attacked homes and vehicles and assaulted several Palestinian residents in the city of Brooklyn on Thursday. The attack occurred just hours after the Israeli army withdrew from the city following a week-long offensive. In Greece, hundreds of demonstrators marched to the Israeli embassy in Athens to demand an end to the genocide in the Gaza Strip. Demonstration called by the trade union confederation PAME gathered a multitude of people made up of workers, professionals, artisans, and some legislators of the Greek Communist Party. Those present carried out Palestinian flags and chanted slogans expressing their solidarity with the Palestinian people. At the same time, they demanded a permanent ceasefire and rejected the complicity of the European governments with the Israeli regime.
We are here to condemn the murderous state and government of Israel, which continues with the backs of the European Union, the United States, and the NATO to mercilessly bomb Gaza. So far, they have a purpose. They have killed thousands of people. They have killed 16,000 children. And today, they are depriving the children of Gaza of humanitarian solidarity. There is a genocide going on there for many years, but today it has gone out of limits. Yesterday, I looked at images of small, hungry children. It is clearly genocide. It's not a matter of humanity. It's a genocide of the Israelis against the Palestinian people.
In the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the Senate decided to lift the immunity of former President Joseph Kabila, accused of supporting the rebel group M23 in the framework of the conflict affecting the east of the country. After weeks of debates, the decision was reached by the Special Commission in charge of examining the petition at a plenary session of the Senate on Thursday, where 88 senators voted in favor, 5 against, and 3 abstained. The ruling allows military prosecutors to pursue legal action against the former head of state following accusations by the Ministry of Justice regarding Kabila's criminal responsibility for the massacres committed in the east of the country by the M23 and AFC movements, of which he is a co-founder. For his part, Kabila called the Senate's decision a desperate political act that lacks respect for institutional balance. And now we have a short break coming up. First, remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. We're going to be right back. Stay with us. The Russian government reported that nearly 1,200 Ukrainian drones were shot down in the last days. The Russian Air Defense Forces intercepted more than 788 unmanned vehicles on the outskirts of the conflict zone. The Defense Ministry specified that since May 17th, the Russian Armed Forces carried out 12 precision strikes and drone strikes, hitting several Ukrainian targets, including the infrastructure of military airfields. Russian anti-aircraft forces also shot down 30 guided aerial bombs, 12 multiple missile launchers, and about 1,548 UAVs. And Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban accused the Ukrainian government of espionage for conducting intelligence operations aimed at influencing his country's residents. The leader affirms that Ukraine maintains contacts with the opposition and endorses the mobilizations that support European Union membership. The Hungarian Prime Minister ratified his position against joining the regional bloc because, in his opinion, it would mean taking part in a war. In recent days, Viktor Orban denounced a smear campaign launched by Kiev against Budapest, organized by the Ukrainian intelligence services. In other topics, in the United States, the security forces of the Central Intelligence Agency reported a security incident in front of its headquarters in Virginia. CBS News reported that CIA guards shot at a female driver who approached the door and did not stop. The agency stated that the person was already in custody after agents from its team confronted her outside the gates of the residence. Following the incident, the agency added that the main gate of the complex was locked and ordered its employees to seek an alternative route. The woman was shot in the upper body and taken to a medical center. It is believed that her injuries were not life-threatening. And the U.S. government granted Harvard University a 72-hour deadline to provide information regarding alleged violent activities and protests if it wishes to recover its foreign enrollment program. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said the institution will be able to regain its credentials if it complies with a series of requirements that include providing video, images, or audio of protests deemed illegal. The termination of the foreign enrollment program marks an increase in tension between the Republican government and the university, which last April sued the Trump administration over the suspension of federal funding in response to alleged anti-Semitic behavior reported at the school. And the United States House of Representatives gave the green light to a bill on Thursday to cut taxes and increase military and border spending. U.S. President Donald Trump called it the most important bill ever signed in the history of the country. Critics of the text estimate that if passed by the Senate, the bill will decimate healthcare and increase the debt. The mega bill adds new rebates such as exemptions for tips and purchases of domestically manufactured automobiles, along with increased funding for border management and enforcement of the president's tough immigration policy. The bill also includes a remittance tax of 3.5% instead of the initially planned 5%, which would be a blow to migrants' pockets. Meanwhile, a federal judge in Boston blocked President Donald Trump's executive order to dismantle the U.S. Department of Education. The decision issued by Judge Myung-Jin orders the reinstatement of employees laid off after massive cuts following the measure that sought to transfer powers to the states and which sparked criticism for its impact on public education. Magistrate Myung-Jin decided to block the measure in response to a lawsuit by Massachusetts school districts and the U.S. Teachers Federation, which would imply a reduction in personnel from 4,133 to 2,183. In Italy, two key constitutional court rulings were approved that, among other things, will allow LGBTIQ+ mothers to legally recognize their non-biological children. The approval of both rulings puts an end to the legal uncertainty and discrimination of hundreds of families in Italy, especially lesbian mothers who resorted to in vitro fertilization. From the political sphere, the coordinator of the Civil Rights Committee, Alessandra Maiorino, described the ruling as an enormous advance in civil rights in the country and a forceful response to the government's reactionary policies. Also, this Thursday, it was announced that the Juvenile Court of the Italian city of Pesaro approved the adoption of a child born through surrogacy in the United States by a same-sex couple. We have a second short break coming up before we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English. There you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage, and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. A final break, we'll be right back. Welcome back. Trade unions will march in Panama in defense of democracy and human rights to push the government into meeting their demands. This is part of the indefinite strike to reject Law 462 of the Social Security Fund. The rally will set from Urraca Park and it will head for the presidential headquarters in Panama City. Protesters will be standing for their social rights. Furthermore, demonstrators have shown their solidarity for both Sontrax leaders who have been lately arrested and the Sontrax union chair Saul Mendez, who is taking refuge in the Bolivian embassy. After pressure from teachers, construction workers, banana workers, and indigenous peoples who have joined in rejection of the law regulating Social Security, legislators requested President Molino to open a dialogue on Law 462, but he refused. And in Chile, the Midwives College called for a national demonstration this Friday 23rd to reject the new decree issued by the Health Ministry. The Midwives College said Decree 243 reduces the labor field of professionals and threatens the sexual and reproductive health of women. The new decree modifies the criteria for categorizing units in hospital establishments. The association points out that maternity and gynecological emergencies will not be separated from ordinary care. The Guild also condemns the fact that this reform was not previously consulted and therefore calls for the withdrawal of the decree and the creation of a technical roundtable with transparency, seriousness, and protecting women's rights.
We are summoned here on a meeting with the Deputy Secretary because a decree was signed in a sneaky way, violating all women's rights, the rights they have acquired up to now.
We are certainly concerned about the indifference of emergencies. We are aware that there are different profiles of users attending each of these spaces, and we know there is a distinctive professional training. We also understand midwives are the main guarantors of sexual and reproductive rights for the community.
On a summit in the Ecuadorian Amazon, indigenous leaders from Latin America rejected extractions from their territories. Some 20 indigenous delegates from Brazil, Colombia, Chile, Ecuador, and Mexico, alongside the Samaca clan from Suriname, have been attending the three-day meeting in Sarayaku village. On the encounter, they have addressed the violations of nations and companies to the international regulations regarding the protection and defense of indigenous rights. In this sense, they have highlighted that mining exploitation, indiscriminate hunting, and the expansion of agricultural frontiers are part of the common scourge damaging the biodiversity of indigenous lands in the region.
Estamos en resistencia. Estamos en lucha permanente.
We are resisting, we are permanently fighting, day after day. And all the peoples have united for this process of effective work against this system that wants to devour us.
Este sistema que nos quiere devorar.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and the people of Caracas carried out Thursday a massive march to the national government headquarters at the Miraflores Palace to celebrate the closing of the campaign of the Great Patriotic Pulse Simón Bolívar. The mobilization was called by the United Socialist Party of Venezuela in defense of peace and popular sovereignty ahead of the regional and parliamentary elections to be held on May 25th. Thousands of people overflowed the streets of Caracas to reaffirm their commitment with the Bolivarian Revolution and reject any attempt by the far-right groups to disturb the peace of the nation a few days before the elections. And during the march, the Venezuelan president answered questions posed by the press covering the event and referred to the effectiveness of the government operation to prevent any terrorist attempt against the Bolivarian nation.
The Operation Knock Knock is in full swing. A group of new terrorists have been captured, and Diosdado is going to give that information soon. They are international terrorists, and some national terrorists too, who were carrying grenades and explosives. We are dismantling a terrorist offensive that is coming with the complicity of Uribe and Duke from Colombia and Miami. The good news is that the intelligence, patrol and immediate reaction method is working, as well as the popular, military and police fusion.
Like this, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. So join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. With TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thanks for watching.